Okay, picture this. You're beyond time, beyond space. Edge of nothingness. Darkness all around, reality itself just fraying.
Yeah, it sounds like the setup for some epic final boss, right?
Yeah,
But no, what's happening here? It's all about EXP.
exactly. But not just any EXP grind. This is framed like a fight for the very idea of EXP. It's intense.
Seriously intense. We're talking peak performance, pushing limits you barely knew existed.
Welcome, everyone, to the Deep Dive. Today, we are jumping straight into the heart of an incredible moment of, well, digital mastery.
We can break down the skills, the strategy, the sheer reflexes, and kind of get into the head of someone operating at an absolutely insane level.
Our mission to really unpack this whole sequence. How do they do it? Why do they do it? What drives this kind of dedication in a virtual world?
It's less about the specific game, maybe, and more about the performance itself, the human element pushing the digital boundaries.
All right, let's paint the picture. The setting is Limina, end of the world 1 to 5. And it looks like it sounds floating islands, cosmic chaos swirling.
It really feels like the final frontier, doesn't it? Like the world's literally coming apart at the seams.
And that backdrop, it just raises the stakes, makes the whole thing feel heavier, you know? Even grinding for EXP feels like you're fighting the void itself.
Totally. So, who's our main character in this scene? The description calls them Frosty Flash, an ice lightning mage, an arch god.
An arch god! I love that. Not just a player, but a force of nature, a living conduit of frost and fury.
That says it all, doesn't it? It's not just a character name, it's like a title, earned through unbelievable skill, mythological status almost.
And the goal, like we said, grinding EXP at the gates of oblivion. But the fight isn't just for points or treasure.
No, it's for the very concept of EXP, which is such a wild way to put it.
It implies that getting experience isn't just automatic at this stage. It's a challenge. It's the challenge. It's about pure, unadulterated efficiency.
Right. Before the action kicks off, though, there's the ritual, the pre-buff sequence. Arcane Aim, Infinity, Maple Warrior, DSI, a whole light show.
Yeah, and not just clicking buttons. The description mentions millisecond precision. This is serious setup.
Absolutely critical. These buffs are temporary power spikes. DSI, SE, you're boosting attack speed, crit rate, the fundamentals you need for maximum damage in a short window.
Optimization before the first punch is even thrown.
Exactly. And the big one mentioned is Infinity, described as a promise of unlimited power, but only for a bit.
Ah, the classic timed power-up. That's the core, isn't it? Everything that follows is about squeezing every last drop out of that limited window.
You got it. Okay, stage set, buffs are blazing, adrenaline's got to be pumping, and here they come, the mobs.
Dark Executors and Ascendians, creatures born from the very fabric of despair, just swarming the platform.
Like extensions of the chaos itself.
Yeah.
An endless tide. It reinforces that feeling of a relentless challenge needing hyper-efficiency.
First move described. Chain lightning. And the sound. Gricka-thoom!
Yes. The description calls it a pinball machine of pain. Love that.
Leaping, arsing, hitting 10, then 50 mobs instantly.
It's pure crowd control, right? Zap everything in a huge area. Absolutely essential for this kind of speed grinding.
But they're not standing still. Gotta have mobility. Teleport Shuni described as, get this, faster than a server check announcement.
Huh. Okay, that's specific, but it paints a picture. The speed is insane. This isn't just dodging.
No way. It's offensive movement, covering the whole map, hitting spawn points the second they appear. Constant repositioning.
And while they're blinking around like that, they're dropping the big guns. Blizzard and Frozen Orb.
Blizzard and Arctic Apocalypse. Freezing, shattering everything.
And then Frozen Orb, that slow-moving sphere of absolute zero, pulls mobs in, deals damage over time.
You see how they work together? Blizzard for immediate AoE and control, Frozen Orb for sustained damage and grouping.
And the description notes they're teleporting while the orb is still traveling. That's some serious multitasking. Maximum uptime on damage, maximum map coverage.
This leads to the core loop, the flawless rotation. Teleport chain, lightning teleport, frozen orb, teleport blizzard, repeat.
Flawless is the word. The account claims 110% map coverage, hitting mobs that haven't even spawned yet.
Okay, 110% might be a bit of an exaggeration.
Yeah, probably. But to toast the goal, right? It means they're clearing stuff so fast, they're basically hitting mobs the instant they appear, or even anticipating the spawns. Zero wasted time.
And the detail about the KPM meter, the kill per minute tracker, it apparently shows a question mark and smoke.
That's amazing. It means the game's own system can't even calculate how fast they're killing things. It's literally off the charts.
That's just wild.
Wow. That single detail says so much, and the peak performance, fueled by infinity, it builds to the ultimate skill, Ice Age. Oh yeah, the description goes full epic mode here. Entire map engulfs titanic glaciers, a geological event.
Whoa, so what does it do?
It's the screen nuke. Payoff for that, unlimited power. Flash freeze, shatter, vaporize. Every single mob on screen, gone, instantly. Poof.
Just erased. That's the god tier power right there.
But they don't stop. Even after that, the pressure's on. Follow-ups are Bolt Barrage.
A celestial cannonade. Lightning bolts raining down with unerring accuracy.
And Jupiter Thunder. Colossal pillar of lightning that just obliterates a whole platform.
So even when the biggest skills are on cooldown, they're layering other powerful stuff to keep that kill rate sky high. No downtime allowed.
Shows incredible knowledge of their toolkit, right? How to sequence everything perfectly to maintain that tempo.
But, there's always a catch. The description flags it. The infinity buff is blinking.
Dun dun dun. The moment of truth. The Achilles heel.
Suddenly, the archgod is a mere mortal for a few seconds.
And that vulnerability phase, it's super critical in high-level play like this. You have to shift gears.
From pure offense to survival mode, your efficiency drops, and now it's about managing risk. Adds real tension to the cycle.
So how do they handle it? The account says they switch tactics completely.
Right. Summoning their spirit helper Elquines for a bit of extra damage, throwing up defensive shields like Glacial Wall.
And using that teleport defensively now. Kiting the mobs, the description says. Playing for time.
Kiting, basically playing keep away, right? Using movement to dodge and survive while waiting for those cooldowns shows adaptability.
Exactly. Same skill, different purpose. But the description of the struggle during this phase is almost comical.
It really is. Damage is lower. They're not one-shotting anymore. They're gasp. Two-shotting them.
The horror. Two-shotting. It just shows how ridiculously high the baseline is normally.
The description uses words like indignity, like it's painful to be so inefficient.
And the little details, the pet looking nervous, the blurred fingers on the keyboard watching that cooldown timer. It's that relatable frustration, right, when things just slow down.
But it doesn't last long. The infinity buff comes back online, power surges back.
And bam, immediately unleash Spirit of Snow. Snap right back to god tier status.
That whole cycle, peak power, vulnerability management, instant return, that's the rhythm of this intense grind. Needs incredible focus.
Minute after minute after minute. But wait, there's more. Just to add to the chaos, Rumble, and elite boss spawns.
A poisonous shadow annihilator. Huge, green, tons of HP, and apparently looking absolutely disgusted.
Guess it doesn't appreciate the efficient slaughter interrupting its
Right.
despair time. Elites are different, though.
Yeah, not just clearing trash mobs now. It's a single tough target, needs burst damage, control, but it's also an opportunity.
Right, bonus EXP, better loot potential. So, how does Frosty Flash deal?
Locks it down at first, uses unending terror stun, freeze, electrocute, then just unloads everything.
Every Dudo T, every AoV, every single spell they've got, layer it all on, smart tactics. Control first, then maximum focus damage.
The description says the HP bar just starts chunking down, melting away.
Effective, very effective target elimination. And the reward for taking it down.
Loot explosion, suspicious cubes, a safety charm. Meh, can't win them all. But then
What is?
2 node stones dropped, which is apparently like hitting the lottery.
Whoa, okay, node stones, yeah, that is
Yes.
hitting the lottery. Those are usually super valuable for upgrading skills, boosting your power even further.
So getting 2 at once, that's a huge progression boost. Makes all that effort feel instantly worth it. Feeds right back into the grind.
Totally, that's the kind of drop that keeps you going. So all this leads to the peak of the session.
The description paints this picture of just transcendence. KPM off the charts. Mezzo counters spinning like a slot machine.
Yeah.
EXP bar a blur.
They've become one with the grind, one with the storm, one with the frost. It's that flow state, right? Peak immersion, peak performance.
Just an engine of pure optimized destruction.
And the ultimate goal for this specific grind session. Level 280.
Ding! The description goes nuts here. Blinding flash, angelic choirs, heavy metal riffs, floating in the air.
Gotta love the drama. But yeah, hitting a major milestone level like that, that's the big payoff. The game itself acknowledging the mastery, the insane effort, clear progress.
A moment of triumph. But the very next thing the player does.
Let me guess. Checks the time, takes a break.
Nope. Immediately assign stats. Because...
The grind never ends. There it is, the kicker. Huge achievement unlocked, and instantly preparing for the next stage of the grind. that really captures the perpetual cycle of this kind of gameplay.
It's relentless. So, okay, we've witnessed this incredible display of focus, precision, endurance. What does it tell us, stepping back, about people in these digital spaces?
Well, it shows how motivating these structured systems can be, Clear goals, measurable progress, even if it's abstract like EXP. That pursuit of optimization, finding the perfect way, that's a powerful drive.
Taps into that desire for mastery, right? And how do the game mechanics themselves, the buffs, the cooldowns, the lucky node stone drops, the level dings, how do they keep it engaging? It's repetitive, fundamentally.
They inject drama. The power surge, then the panic of the cooldown, the thrill of the rare drop, the satisfaction of the level up. It creates rhythm, peaks and valleys. Turns a flat grind into a story with many challenges and triumphs.
That makes sense. And thinking about that flawless rotation, the speed, the millisecond precision, what kind of skill is that, really?
It's a different kind of skill, maybe. Not just strategy, but pure execution. Technical precision, muscle memory, intense focus, mental stamina. Keeping that up for hours. That's mastery.
Yeah, absolutely. And the language used to describe it, Archgadagat, geological event skills, how communities talk about this stuff.
They build legends. It reflects total awe and respect for players who push the limits like this. It's recognizing the dedication, the practice, the sheer skill involved in making the game's own trackers throw up smoke. It's celebrating virtual athleticism.
So we've deep dived into this one session, the crazy setting, the god tier player, the power spikes, the moments of weakness, the lottery drops, the big level up.
And it was way more than just grinding, wasn't it? It was portrayed as this symphony of slaughter, a masterclass in optimized execution.
Absolutely. Which leaves us with a final thought for you, the listener. Considering the incredible effort, the focus, the skill poured into gaining virtual EXP at the gates of oblivion, what's the real value in achieving these demanding, abstract goals?
Yeah, is there inherent value in that level of mastery itself, regardless of the goal? Does that drive for optimization, for measurable progress against tough odds, tell us something fundamental about how we find satisfaction, both online and maybe elsewhere too?
Something to think about. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the heart of the hyper-optimized grind.
Shine on. 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 on. Shine on. Stay safe. Shine on. Shine on. Let me help you. Shine on. 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 Let me help you. Shine on. Shine on. Shine on. Shine on. Shine on. on. Shine on. Shine on. Shine on. Stay safe. Shine on. 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 shine on.